Hi, I'm Lily, and for my independent project, I chose to interview Benjamin Kelly, who is an exercise physiologist at the clinical health fitness business, Apex Athletic Performance. Here is their mission statement. It was super easy to find right on the first page of their website. Market research, both internal and external, we're going to cover. Now, since Apex is a part of a large corporate hospital system, they mostly focus on internal research. So when I was talking to Ben, he could really only touch on what they do internally. However, he did give me some insight as to what the corporate system of Prisma does externally. As far as internal, they look at attendance rates, purchases, client feedback, evaluations, and reviews on coaches from clients, which we'll get into a little bit more later. They also hold regular staff meetings to discuss project progress and growth, as well as how they want to continue growing in the future, what areas might be lacking. And financials, they look at that a lot. They reassess their budget often. They look at profit margins, where they're losing, where they're making money, which programs are the most effective, which packages are being purchased. And externally, Prisma Health will handle that. Now, they mostly just evaluate where to put locations like Apex. With this, they look at how competitive the area it is and how successful the business will be in said location. The most important thing that they look at when picking a location, though, is its proximity to schools in the area, whether it be elementary, middle, high school, college. The Hugie Street location is right downtown Columbia, basically on campus, as they get a lot of college athletes there from the different universities in the area. And the Lexington location is right next to the Gray Academy, which is a sport-focused high school, and a couple other high schools in the area are really close. Advertising plan, because there's no budget for advertising, the number one form of advertising they do is their Instagram, because they can reach a variety of athletes at no cost. They post on there a couple times a week. If not more than one time a week, they at least post every single Friday. They also have done several video advertisements in the past that get distributed in Prisma's monthly newsletter, and they've also run these commercials at high population attendance local football games, so like rival team football games, and they've seen a lot of success with this and had a lot of people come in after showing these at the games. Now, the target population, I know it seems like a pretty wide range, but they mostly are just looking for anyone that wants to improve their athletic abilities, whether it be youth athletes, collegiate athletes, pros, or the older population just looking for quality of life maintenance. Staffing plan, this is the beautiful, amazing staff at Apex at both the Hugie and Lexington locations. Now, in total, they have 8 coaches on staff. Now, they did have 9, but one of them recently left because they finished their Combine Pro Day prep. Now, at Lexington, the staff includes Ben, who's the lead coach, then Harrison Hines, who's secondary coach, and Allison Traub, who is the jack of all trades. They have 1 full-time position, 1 part-time position, 1 PRN position. Ben's job includes communication between locations with the director. He organizes higher-level programming and trains a lot of the higher-level athletes. He also facilitates student intake and training, so the interns, and facilitates collaboration between Apex and the MAP lab, where they can go get my biomechanics analyses done. The staff at Hugie includes Doug Dutton, Nathan Wickfield, and Aaron McLaren. Here's the job description included here, so what you would expect for a strength and conditioning coach. And as far as qualifications, you need a bachelor's degree in exercise science and your CSCS, which is your certified strength and conditioning specialist. They also have an SC United campus that they send 2 of their staff members to, Peyton and Ashton. It's not their location, but they outsource their staff to the team. And Stephen is the director of the whole department and facilities and oversees it all. Safety plans. They do post all of the proper usage of each equipment next to the equipment, so that's always a reminder there, and they make sure that their staff is aware of how to properly use that equipment without harm. If they have their CSCS or their degree, which they need to be hired, they should understand general safety things when it comes to doing these movements, but they definitely make sure that they know how to use the equipment before sending them off. As far as legal things go, all athletes sign full liability waivers and social media waivers, which means that if anything goes wrong, their Apex is pretty much covered. Prisma also has an insurance policy for the Apex department, so with that, if something were to go wrong and someone wants to sue, they cannot sue Benjamin Kelly as the individual who works for Apex. They would have to sue Prisma Health as a corporation. Now, the biggest issue that they do run into when it comes to legal things is social media waivers. Athletes should be signing this waiver before they start, but sometimes they don't, so you always got to make sure before you post them on social media that they have signed the waiver. And the other issue is NCAA athletes. Now, it used to be a lot more complicated. Now it's gotten a lot easier. There's less rules around it in the past couple years, but they still just err on the side of caution and don't really post NCAA athletes. Now, the existing facilities, we'll look at the Hugie Street and the Lexington locations. At Lexington, it is an outdoor and indoor sports performance facility that is 31,000 square feet in total. Here's some pictures of what it looks like on the outside and the inside. It's a little bit bigger than what you can see in the pictures, but if you want a more thorough tour of the facility, I've linked a YouTube video, so you can check that out and see a more detailed tour if you're interested. Now, Hugie Street is a little bit smaller. It's 13,000 square feet. It has an indoor field, indoor track, outdoor field, outdoor running track, sand pit, and 2 batting cages. They fit a lot in this small area. Now, the existing equipment, it's a lot. I'm not going to read through it all, but it's pretty much everything that you would expect to find in a gym setting. They do a really good job of keeping this organized. It was really easy for me to go through when they shared it with me. They keep track of the state of the equipment, when they got the equipment, how much they have of everything, and budget for all facilities. Now, when I went over this with Ben, he said obviously the quantitative stuff is non-disclosable. He couldn't tell me numbers specifically, but we did go over the top 3 categories for revenue and income. Those included athlete packages, so people actually paying for the training. They do combines, exposure events, and large team training. He lumped these together because they kind of are paid for in a similar manner. And facility rentals, which is more common at the Hugie location, but it does happen at the Lexington one. As far as the biggest expenses, overhead is number 1, so equipment, turfing, the actual building and location itself. The land is the biggest. Then you have utilities. They have a huge electric bill. They've got a bunch of TVs, speakers, lights, everything. So that's a huge one. And then staffing costs. So they pay their coaches. Ben pointed out that they like to pay them pretty well and appreciate their coaches for what they're worth. So that racks up. And programs offered. These are the same programs offered at both facilities. You have next level performance training, elite performance training, combine pro day training, and personal training. Program evaluations. So they do a lot of internal program evaluations. They have continuing athlete evaluations at the end of each training cycle. So training cycles are usually about 9 to 12 weeks, where they assess their programs and see if there's anything that they need to change based on athletes' performance, if they're getting better, if they're getting worse, if they haven't changed at all. So they look at that and see what needs to change in their program to reach their goals. They also use a site called MindBody to schedule everything. And so after going into schedule classes or after classes, clients can go in and rate the class or the coach. And they also send out survey sheets with each monthly newsletter so that clients can fill them out and submit them back to us. And that's all for now. Thank you so much for listening/watching. Hope you enjoyed and maybe learned a little bit. And yeah.